Hello everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm Adrian, I'm a shamanic practitioner of 10 years following the Altai tradition, and I am joined with the lovely Bianca, who will introduce herself now.
Hi, I am a crystal therapist, stone medicine practitioner. I do crystal healing, crystal therapy, crystal acupuncture, different energy healing modalities, anything rock related, and I've been doing that for about 8 or 9 years.
Bianca loves the crystals and she's one of the best people I know. So if you're interested in crystals, Bianca is definitely the woman to see.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do have workshops actually. Workshops, courses, things of that nature. So this is our first podcast.
This is our first podcast.
Impromptu. We went to Pepe's and we were like, let's do a podcast. And
let's do a podcast.
Here we are. If you've got any advice on what we should call our podcast, let us know, because we don't know. Adrian reckons crystal drum.
Crystal drum, because obviously the drum is my main tool of healing, and crystals is Bianca's main tool of healing. So I think that makes sense. So I like it, but Bianca's not too sure. She'd rather call it mini muffins. But
no, that was your idea as well. I haven't got a clue really, to be honest. But I'm just a bit too much of a perfectionist. So let's. We're going to talk about
unrequited love.
And I have a trouble saying unrequited, so I'm going to call it unreturned love. And
do you know what? Can I stop you there? I like that. That's
unreturned
better.
Love, yeah,
that's much better.
Unreturned love, and we're gonna dive in with this really quickly because my laptop's saying my disk's almost full. And I don't want to get into the flow, and we run out of room. So you should stay tuned because we're going to talk about what it is, how to identify it, also what it is not, and what causes it, and we can maybe give you some advice on how you can deal with it. But hopefully someone just hears this and it just resonates with them and they take something from it.
I'm sure it will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it will. So what is it? So what did you call it?
Unreturned love.
Unreturned love. Yeah, unreturned love is when you love somebody but they don't love you back. And that is essentially what it is. But we're going to talk about what happens when we can't accept the reality of that. And it's actually a really sad thing. And it can take you down very, very strange paths of thinking and behaviour, essentially.
It could also be when you're obsessed with someone.
Yeah, obsession.
We say unreturned love, like I'm so in love with this person. Sometimes actually are you? Are you just obsessed? I know lots of people that have been in love with the idea of someone rather than the actual person.
We'll talk about that further on.
All right, okay.
Hold your horses, Bianca.
Right, okay.
Hold your horses. Right. So, how do you identify it? It's actually right in front of our eyes usually most of the time, and it's when the person is not giving you the same love back, like amount of attention back, or
returning your efforts.
Thank you so much. This is why you're here, because you can help me get my words out. Returning your efforts. So yeah, I think we've all had that experience, when you've met someone, things are going on well, then all of a sudden they're not returning your calls, or they're not returning your messages, or you might even be in a relationship.
Long-term
relationship.
So if there's unreturned love in a long-term relationship, and if it just generally is unreturned love, it will be identified by you making excuses for the other person. We were saying before, there are times when the other person in the relationship will be going through more stressful times, and you do need to be support, but it's not all the time. You can't be second last on the list for 5 years in a row.
Yes.
Like, there's a difference, yeah?
Yes.
Basically, other people, another telltale sign is friends and family might tell you you're a mug.
Yeah.
They will not like your partner.
Yeah, your friends will always notice it first.
Yeah.
And then you'll find yourself making excuses. Oh, yeah, but it's this. Oh, yeah, but it's because they've got this going on. And it's because they suffer from this trauma. And the list goes on and on and on. But before we get there, we've got to talk about why we can't accept it, even though you know it. And the reason why that is because it's painful. Like, it is painful if you love someone and you really love someone and they don't return that, that's a deep pain.
And it's not always romantic relationships.
It's not always,
I was saying earlier, it could be parental or friends. Like, people make mugs of friends. Like, I've met people and they've actually said to me, I've never had anyone like you in my life before. Like, usually people just use me, and like, so even in a friendship level, like, there's so many people who have never experienced a real friendship before. It's crazy, you know.
And accepting the reality means accepting the pain. Ultimately, that's what it does. And so when you accept the reality, you're accepting the pain, and the pain is not nice. You know, it's suffering. It hurts.
But that's what our brains are wired to protect us anyway. You know,
yes.
So that's why we come up with these delusions and these excuses. Is just what we're hardwired to do, because your brain goes, "That's painful. I don't want to go there, so I'm going to protect you by making up some shit."
Right. So this is where it gets really quite bizarre. And what happens is when you can't accept it, when you can't accept the reality of it and the reality itself, to protect you from the pain, your brain will start to make up all these different stories. Because ultimately,
that goes for everything. Because I'm in my head now, I'm thinking about my mum and her alternate timeline of happenings. So anything where it's hard, painful, or anything that's hard to look on yourself, you make up these things as well.
Yeah, yeah, we do a lot to protect ourselves from pain, from that heartbreak, from that sadness, from that pain. And you know, of course, we don't want to feel pain, but you have to go through the pain, because actually, the pain, the mourning, the grieving, if you go deep into it, has a renewal process. It actually, if you go right to the bottom of it, it will give you energy, and it will actually reinvigorate you. And that's why it's really important to allow time for mourning and processing, and acknowledge that, this hurts and this is pain, and that's okay, and I'm going to sit with this, and that's okay, and that's what I've got to do, because it's going to be there. So the sooner you accept it, and the sooner you can sit with it, and the sooner you can accept the reality of it, the quicker you're going to heal. So let's talk about what kind of stories come out to protect the person from accepting the reality of the fact that their love is not unreturned. What was it?
Unreturned.
Unreturned, that their love is not unreturned. That their love is unreturned.
I don't know where you was
right, okay,
going.
I'm lost now. Right, but
I was just
you have to excuse
say,
me, people. I went to bed really late last night.
I was just going to say, there is also a difference between unreturned love, you being treated second best in a relationship for a long period of time consistently, and some people who have got really low self-esteem because they've got a rejection wound, and you manifesting that there's unreturned love when there's actually not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, let's
And one thing for this is different love languages. Yeah. Different
love languages, yeah. But we want to
and lack of communication.
Keep to the fact that it is obvious, that this person isn't interested.
If your partner wants to only spend time with their friends and not spend time with you, and you're gagging for it, and you've told them, I really want to spend some time with you, and they're like, yeah, next week,
and
next month.
You're always the one putting the effort in and the energy in as well. That's another one, when it's always you initiating the communication. That's a huge one. When it's you initiating the communication all the time, that's a big sign. That they don't feel the same. So what happens is when you can't accept the reality, because you have to deal with pain, and we try and run away from pain, is that stories can come up in your mind. Stories like, perhaps I need to change. That's a big one. Perhaps if I change this about myself, perhaps if I change that about myself, perhaps if I have more money, perhaps if I look this way, perhaps, I don't know, perhaps if I got a new job. It could be all these sort of things. Do you know what I mean? Once I change, they'll want me. They'll want me. then they'll want me. Or perhaps if I look like this, then they'll want me. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps all these, that's one of the stories that can come up and manifest in people when they cannot accept the reality that that person does not, one, love you, and two, does not need you. Yeah? One of the other stories that we tell ourselves is we can put them on a pedestal. Yeah, and this is really dangerous. So
this is very closely linked to
obsession,
and being in love with the idea of someone rather than who the person actually is, or who the person actually was. And this is why, when you decide to get into a relationship or get into a long-term committed relationship or marriage, and you go, yeah, it works great because we're both into the same stuff and we're both on the same wavelength and we both like the same things. I don't understand why liking the same things is such a big deal for most people. Like,
well, it connects you, doesn't it, to something familiar.
But you can very much have different interests and share the same interests. It's different if a person goes, I'm not fucking interested, stop talking about it. Or they go, oh, right, that's really interesting. Or I'll support your hobby, or I'll come to your art gallery, or I can sit and talk to you while you do your painting if painting's your thing, right? But people that get together based on these things and think that this is what's going to make an amazing relationship, in 10 years' time, everyone goes through personal growth. So in 10 years' time, you're going to be completely different people. There's more, like, similar interests are not going to hold you together. There's got to be something else.
See, I think, for me personally, I couldn't be with somebody, obviously I do shamanic work, and that's a very kind of distinct...
That's not a hobby, though. That's your core values.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. My core values, right? So
that's more important than we have the same interests.
Yeah.
There's too much pressure on the same interests.
But I think meeting someone kind of on the similar path is very helpful, because if someone was, I don't know, let's say, out doing crime... Yeah, it's not... well, it happens, right? Let's say, I don't know... Let's say they're out doing crime, some form of crime, or, you know, they see the world and the earth as some sort of mechanical thing. Do you know what I mean? Then it's not really going to resonate with me, because obviously I see the earth as spirit, energy, it's all spirit. So, right, where are we going with this?
I don't know. Well, I was just thinking, I can't understand where I was tying this back in. I was thinking of an example, right? There was this guy... you probably never hear this, so let's just do it anyway.
Okay, so there was a guy.
He was a friend of my husband's, right? And I don't like... This is going to sound horrible. I don't think he'd ever had a girlfriend before. You know the type of guy who struggles to get any female attention, so he's that guy. And he meets this girl online who lives in a different country. I'm pretty sure they met in the simulation of World of Warcraft.
Right, okay.
Right.
That's kind of cool, though.
But again, you've
started virtual characters
from day dot. You've started it as a not really a thing, right?
Yeah, you're both playing somebody else,
right? And he went there to see her. He came back. I'm assuming he lost his virginity on this trip, right?
Right. Okay.
And he came back a completely different person. Leather jacket, hair gelled, right? It's a completely different person.
So you think you're saying that you think he changed himself?
He changed, right? I know. And I said to him. He was like, yeah, I'm in love. She's the one. And I was like, that's really great. How do you know she's the one? Because we like all the same things and she allows me to be me, myself. I said, oh, that's nice. Right. So he moves over there. A couple of years later, he comes back for a visit. She's not nice. She's going to hear this now, isn't she? But I'm a truthful person. I'm sorry. She's not nice.
Yeah.
She tells him what he's allowed to do, what he's not allowed to do, what he's allowed to talk about, what he's not allowed to talk about, what he can spend money on, where they're going to live.
So she's controlling.
She's completely controlling. But the whole premises was, I know this is true love because we do love everything the same. So that's just never enough. I don't know why this was part of Unreturned Love. I don't know where we went, but that was a fun story, no?
Yeah, well, I mean, our prayers go out to that guy, and hopefully he's found harmony now.
He's not, no, but that's his fault.
This is what we were talking about. We were talking about the stories So rather than being able to accept the reality of the fact that someone is not interested in you, the stories that we can play in our minds, which is completely natural because we're trying to protect ourselves from pain, but we have to be aware of it, you know. And so one of what we spoke about was, perhaps if I change, perhaps if I do this, perhaps if I do that. Do you know what I mean? That's one of them.
That is the biggest one that women tell themselves when they're in a relationship with a guy that cheats. Right. Serial cheaters.
Right.
That is their number one, is that they're not good enough and there's something they need to change. And if they could change that one thing, he wouldn't cheat as much. Then
they'll come running back. Yeah. Another story that we can tell ourselves is that they need us. Yeah. You know, perhaps they need me, you know, need me to help them, need me to heal them. And I've fallen into that trap because I'm a very empathetic, obviously, person, and I do healing for work. So when I meet people, when they tell me their stories and it touches my heart, I automatically think I want to help that person get better. Do you know what I mean? And even when it hasn't been the right person, you know, I always want to help them, always want to help them, always want to help them. You know,
I watched a reel about this earlier. This guy had a really good point. I can't remember what the point was though, but it was.
That was an interesting.
It was the reason why you are attracting low quality women. It was just
but then who can judge low quality? Really, it all depends on, you know, who you're looking for.
I suppose relationships then is what he should have reworded it as, but and he was saying that. I can't remember what the reason he said it was, but part of it was you are leaving yourself open to be energy vampired, which is why people that are the type of people that would take advantage of genuinely kind, nice people gravitating towards you because you're an empath, because you're nice. That's why you're ending up with.
Well, actually, what they're looking for is healing.
Yeah.
They're looking for healing, and they might not even love you, but they know deep down that they're not well, or they're. I don't like the word not well. It's not very shamanic. They're in disharmony, yeah? So you've got harmony and you've got disharmony, and the whole of nature is in harmony. All the nature, all the animals, all of the river, all of the ocean, you know, it's in harmony, but it's us that actually is in disharmony, okay? And disharmony is basically when we're not feeling great, yeah? So it's our job to bring ourselves back into harmony, and these people obviously are in disharmony, and they see someone in harmony. They see someone. So harmony is if you feel love, if you feel happy, and if you feel joy, then you feel safe, then you're in harmony. So if they see that someone's in harmony, they're in disharmony, they're going to think, right, okay, maybe I'm going to get a bit of that harmony.
Maybe. Could be that, yeah.
You know, like that's what it's there for. But they might not even love you, but they still keep thinking, well, maybe they'll heal me, maybe they'll help me. But obviously that ultimately is the job of ourselves, even though people can guide you on that path and that journey, but ultimately it's the job of ourselves.
But bringing it back to
the stories. What other stories do we tell ourselves?
I wasn't going to say bringing it back to stories. I was going to say bringing it back to the topic we're supposed to be talking about, of Unreturned Love.
Is a great first podcast.
Yes. What causes it? What causes? Well, we've done obviously the way you're going to think, but what causes you to even think like that in the first place?
Because it's the inability to accept.
No, but it goes deeper.
Yes, past.
Goes deeper.
Always
it goes
comes
back.
From the past.
Always 9 out of 10 is going to come from something. This childhood.
Yeah. It's your
healing.
Relationship to people you loved when you was a child. So, for example, my father left when I was 6. That left me feeling very unloved. Yeah. It's okay. I've healed it now. I'm in harmony.
Okay.
And obviously, of course, that's going to make you think, is my love not worthy? You know, like you're going to think all these things. You know, like, am I not worthy of love? Do they not need me? Do you know what I mean? When you go back to it, it is very inner child. Do they not need me? Am I not worthy of love? Perhaps I need to change myself. Perhaps I need to be a certain way. You know, and it all comes from the past.
I'll tell you what, my first 2 serious relationships were me they had the issue that my dad was workaholic. He didn't see him very often. And the first 2 serious relationships I had, they were emotionally unavailable men. My first 2 serious relationships were with men who were emotionally unavailable. And I feel like that, the cause of that was my dad being a workaholic. Yeah. And me not having a close relationship with either of my parents, really, emotionally. But that is still... Like, they obviously have their own issues for the reason they're emotionally unavailable in the first place.
Of course,
so it's not.
It's
just
never a blame game.
No,
it's never a blame game. That's a good point. So, you know, when these people do not love you back, you know, it does not make them a bad person.
I mean, they may have loved me, but they were emotionally unavailable because they were unwilling to let their guard down to that level to have the type of love that I wanted to have. You know, so therefore I'm still getting unreturned love in the sense that I want. Yeah.
Anger is a symptom as well. When someone doesn't love you back, anger can be an initial reaction.
I know that one.
When you kind of realise, like, hold on a minute, I'm putting all the effort in here and they're not. And oh no, that means that they're not interested. But no, I'm not going to deal with that pain yet. I'm going to get angry about it. So that can be another symptom as well, and then you get angry.
Well, I know a person who's been rejected by his mother of his children, and he goes through a whole loop consistently. They've been broken up for a long, like, over 2 years now. And he goes from... He's very narcissistic. He goes from being really angry and saying horrible, nasty things to her to being a blubbering mess and trying to guilt trip her.
Yeah, because ultimately he wants to feel love.
Yeah, which is really horrible. Like, but...
And he feels angry because they...
What's the person on the other end who is the object of the person's desire? What advice do we give them to not get sucked back into it? Because they don't have to. If they don't love the other person.
Yeah, well, it's not their problem. It's not their issue.
But if you share something like children, and you let the little voices in your head go, oh, maybe we should try again, because you know we say it's narcissism, but it is in essence really sad. Because that person can't let go.
Once again, it's disharmony, and all disharmony is sad. You know, I view all mental illness, what we would call mental illness. All of it. Even, you know, I've had flack because I feel sympathy for narcissists, because I feel sympathy for the victims too, but deep down I think, you know, what happened?
Narcissism is learned. So the person who's narcissistic has been subjected to that themselves, and they can subconsciously pick up those tendencies because that's just how they've witnessed relationships play out, and they don't know no different. It's not really their fault.
The shamanic belief is that we're all born pure souls, and you can't argue that. Like, a baby is a pure soul, and then as we grow up, our experiences bring us negative. Okay, so how do we deal with unreturned love, or unrequited love, unreturned love? How do we deal with it? Well, first of all,
my advice would be, first of all, check, is it actually unreturned love? Or is it you manifesting stuff because you've got a rejection wound? Are you extra needy in the relationship?
Yeah, is it you?
Is the person asking for reasonable things, but you're like, oh my God, they don't love me because they don't want to spend every minute of the time with me? Like, you know, 1, is it actually unreturned love? 2, talk to the person, especially if you're in a long-term committed relationship with children. Talk to the person, be like, these are my wants and emotional needs, you're not fulfilling them. Are you willing to help me or not? Yeah.
Do you know what, people? I'm going to do a bit of shamanic talk here. The totem of the wolf represents a totem of truth, and that's all we need is just the truth.
So go to the person.
But the truth is going to cause pain. There's no doubt about it. The truth is going to cause some pain. But once we understand that pain is a part of the harmony of the universe, you have to go through that. Do you know what I mean? It's when we can't accept the pain and we try to get rid of it that we come up with all these different stories that create delusions and whatnot. So we need the totem of the wolf, we need the truth, and the truth will set you free. And as cheesy as that sounds, it does, because once you accept the reality of it, then you accept the pain, then you can move on. And the way we deal with it is by self-care. So people say, how do you love yourself? You know, you've got to love yourself, but how do you do that? Because it's like, oh, you've got to love yourself. It's essentially self-care, and we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? You know, when you look after a baby, you take care of the baby. You know, when you look after your children, you take care of your children. If you've got a pet, you take care of the pet. So it's the same love that you do with the kids, the babies, the cats, the dogs, whatever your animal is. Perhaps you've got a lion in the garden, I don't know, snail, tortoise, fly. And you use that energy on yourself. So okay, what is it that I need? What is it that I need right now? You know, what is it that I need? And you bring that love, you take it away from that person. So rather than projecting on that person that doesn't want it, and they don't want it, because if they did want it, you'd know about it. You wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. So then,
if you're not in a relationship, by the way, if you're not already in the relationship, one of the big lies, excuses people tell themselves is, oh, the person's shy. They're not shying away from me because they're not interested, and they're really trying to show me that I'm not interested by not paying me no attention, not calling me, not returning my texts.
They've got loads of trauma, they suffer from this, they suffer from that.
No, they're just not coming up to you and talking to you because they're not interested, not because they're shy. That's a delusion.
Yeah, you've got to accept the reality, accept it, and then we can move on. And then we self-care, which is self-love. Self-care is self-love. So you go to bed at a regular time. Sounds stupid, sounds silly, but it's getting in harmony with nature. You know, like what would you do with a child? You say, right, you go to bed at this time, so you get your sleeping pattern right.
Although Adrian is
stayed awake till 4 last night.
That wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to say Adrian's a single Pringle.
I'm a single
looking
Pringle.
To mingle, but Adrian is single and he has no children. And when he was listing these things off earlier, like go and get a massage, I said there are going to be a lot of single mums or dads watching this that are going to be like, oh yeah, Adrian, just go to bed when I feel like it early night. What if the baby's up till like 4 a.m. screaming, I can't get no sleep? That's some people's cycle of life.
I can't get no sleep.
That's some people's season of life. Although I do tell all my clients about, you know, check your circadian rhythm and stuff.
Yeah, because it's
for some people, sleep is a big issue. For some people, all of this, especially if you are a single parent with no support network for the
lack of sleep can create psychosis, delusion, symptoms of schizophrenia. That can really, really mess you up. A lot of people don't realise this. Okay, so sleep is one, but obviously if you can't get enough sleep, so I'm just taking it back to basics. Okay,
yeah, I know,
very basic stuff.
But I listen to shit like this all the time. And it angers me because I get, well, I can't do that. Well, I can't do that. Well, it's all right for that person to just go, do this, do that. Sometimes you actually can't. And sometimes it's not you making excuses. There is nothing you can do, you know?
Okay, but that's okay. So if you can't do that, don't get angry at yourself. Would you get angry at a baby if it can't sleep?
I'm not angry at myself. I'm talking about people.
No, but you said you get angry.
I get angry
you say
that there's no practical advice for people that are in certain seasons of life or certain situations who cannot go to all the spas and have all the sleep they want and do things like that. So some practical advice for those people would be remove yourself from the relationship. If you have checked all the boxes that say, actually, I'm just being treated like a mug. Yeah, everyone else is true. I know deep down inside.
You've taken the bold step of accepting the reality.
All my friends and family, I know deep down they're right, and I know I'm making excuses. And you're only in the relationship because you are scared of being alone. You are scared of starting again. You're scared of going through the pain. So self-care in that situation would be being brave enough. What's the animal for brave?
What's the animal for brave? There's loads of animals for brave. I mean, the lion's got a lot of courage. Lion totem is extremely powerful. If you want to connect with the lion totem, lion energy. But really, we want to do this. I mean, I'd say more deer, because deer is a very beautiful animal that is shy, gentle but knows its way through the forest, and the forest is our own minds. Yeah, so it knows our way. It knows how to navigate through the forest. It knows how to get through the forest. It finds a way, and it is our personal power. So
it may be a case of building up your self-esteem before you are ready to walk out of that relationship. You know, some people stick in a toxic
but a lot of people
relationship.
stick in it because it makes them feel like they're wanted. It makes them feel, do you know what I mean? Like, if someone cares about me just a little bit, then I'm okay. But that's a different subject.
I'm saying some people might not even come to that logical realisation that they've got unreturned love until they have built
Until
up.
they listen to this podcast and go, damn, I need to connect with that lion totem and deer totem and wolf totem.
I think this last 7 minutes has been super off topic, so we apologise for that.
Right, let's go back to the self-care. Right, how do we take care of ourselves? Like, obviously I said the sleep thing is not going to work for everyone.
Basic needs,
yeah, exactly. Basic
needs that are overlooked, like hydration.
Hydration, food, decent food. Once you start doing that self-esteem is basically just another word for negative emotions. That's all it is. When someone's got loads of positive emotions...
I think it's feeling worthy. If you were having unreturned love and you know it's unreturned love but you put up with it anyway, it's because what? Because you feel like you're not worthy of something better.
But it's negative emotions, right? You're going to feel... Anyone that feels negative emotions, usually their self-esteem is low. I try and keep it simple, you know, harmony, disharmony. Yeah, they're in disharmony.
I'm very complex.
You are complex.
There's layers.
There's layers to this onion. Simple.
Mr. Simple.
I'm very simple. Simple ways is to take, 10, 15 minutes of your day if you got it, and just listen to some beautiful music. Listen to some beautiful, beautiful music. Music that really is beautiful. Music that makes you feel beautiful. Yeah?
Not sad love songs.
Not sad love songs. Not, music that makes you feel beautiful. Actually...
Or music that makes you feel confident.
Music that makes you want to dance and get up, and dance.
Expression of movement.
Dance is really, really powerful healing tool, and we don't use it enough. It's such a beautiful gift, and we don't use it as much as we should. We should be dancing every day. If you've got your sage, if you've got your juniper, burning beautiful incense. And
so my favourite smudge for things is juniper first, because juniper is for releasing, so you can burn the juniper wood or you can burn the juniper leaves and the berries. Juniper is for releasing. Then I like to come in with the white sage for the deep cleanse.
Oh, yeah.
Then I like to do the Palo Santo for the mood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So juniper, sage, so release, cleanse, soothe, smooth and smooth.
Wow, you finished it off.
It's my triple smudge.
It's triple smudge. There you go. You've got a secret to the triple smudge now. Now you've got no excuses. Moving, basically, accept the reality. I know I've said that 100 times. Then you allow yourself to feel the pain. Then you start your self-care, and you can obviously journal, what you're feeling, but don't. The best way to start the journey is, I accept this person does not love me. That's the best way. Not, this person doesn't love me, and maybe if I change, or maybe if I do this, or maybe if I do that, or maybe I need to be this person, or maybe they do love me, and maybe actually they're just struggling.
But the only thing is, what is true, what is reality? Because you might write in your journal, if this person just worked on their mother wounds, then all the communication in the relationship would be better, and he'd return love. That actually might be true, but the reality is that person's not. The person is not going to, is not likely to, is not ready to. Yeah. So right now, you're still experiencing it. You're still experiencing unreturned love, which is not good enough. So everyone deserves to be loved, right?
Absolutely.
My
just
favourite
because
self-care.
One person has rejected your love does not mean you are unlovable. That's just because one person has rejected your love does not mean that you are unlovable. You are lovable. You are love. So Of course you're lovable.
I give that affirmation to
you
my
can't
clients all
not
the
be
time.
something you are not. And at our core being, we are love. You know, that's why we all share, you know, grieve, mourning when someone passes, when someone dies, when you lose an animal, when you know. It's because that's where you come from. You come from the source of love. But unfortunately, in this life, we do have to deal with pain in this reality. And once we move through that pain, we reconnect with that source of love. That source of love has a renewal process, which actually gives you more energy, more power, believe it or not, because you've got through it. Yeah? And you're smarter. And you've learned the lesson, and now you're okay. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it can be so powerful to let yourself mourn and let yourself grieve. And in shamanism, we use the fire. The fire is a really powerful element to help you grieve and to help you mourn and to help you release pain. Yeah, and you sit by the fire, and the fire is really, really comforting, and you can just give that pain to the fire. You know, give that pain to the fire, give that pain to the fire, give that pain to the fire. And the fire will help you transmute that into something new. It's renewal. So I think we covered pretty much.
No, my favourite self-care techniques for people that are dealing with unreturned love are self-care number 1. Get off your phone. Get off your phone. Like, everyone's just, that's self-care anyway in general. Get off your phone. Like, too much information. You're trying to process emotion.
Yeah.
You cannot process emotion if you're constantly on your phone having more information. Plus, you're probably looking for information about why doesn't that person love me.
Yeah.
You're looking for the sad quotes, and then you can't think in a straight linear process because you've got too many things coming at you at once. Yeah, and get off the phone for looking for a rebound.
Yeah, some people.
No,
that's
self-care
how some people.
is just
some
not.
people. I mean, excuse me. Some people do that, and some people find that actually helps a little bit. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong. I'm not there to judge, but some people find that it does help them take their mind off of it a little bit. But once again, it's like
That's avoidance.
Yeah, you're not sitting with the pain.
No.
Sit with the pain, go into the pain.
If there is any pain, there might be someone going,
Sometimes
I've
not.
just realised I've got to return love, fucking go find someone else now.
No, so honestly, and sometimes that does happen. It's happened, it's happened to me, and it was a relief. And I was like, oh man, I was just tired. I was just trying to distract myself from this pain. But actually, now that I've gone into this pain, now that I see the reality of it, and I see the reality of the person, the ideals we didn't talk about. We said a little bit about putting someone on a pedestal of like, oh, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that, but in reality they're really not. And once you see the actual person for who they are, and you sit down and you stop wishing that they were this way in your mind, like wishing they were that way, and you actually see them how they really are, and you write a list of it, of how they actually are, that's a really powerful
Lists are good.
Lists are always good. Can't go wrong with a good list.
What kind of list should these people be making?
Well, that's one of them. If you think that you might be in this situation, then you go and write a list of actually how they act towards you, how they behave towards you, what they say to you. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, if it's not affectionate, kind, sweet, loving, if it's not none of those things, and it's very much like it doesn't really talk to me, but then you know the answer.
And then some nice self-care lists would be all the great qualities and lovable things about myself that I could give to someone else.
That you could give to someone else, but also what do you love? What other things do you love? Because love is a
Gratitude.
Very big spectrum.
Lists of gratitude are good.
Gratitude. That can be very difficult if you're in a time of mourning. That does come part of the cycle of mourning. That's what comes at the end of the mourning, which is the renewal process. Is because when people die, you mourn and you think about the past, and then you start to think how grateful you was for certain moments, and then it fills your heart with gratitude, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm still here, I'm still alive. Do you know what I mean? And it can be the same, when we're mourning whatever it is we're mourning, which could be that person doesn't love me. Okay, I'm going to sit with that, and okay, they don't love me, and this is who they really are. But actually, no, that's okay, because I am still here, and I am lovable, and just because it's one person that has rejected my love doesn't mean I'm now unlovable. It means love is all around us.
I do have...
You're going to finish the Wet, Wet, Wet song or not?
No.
Oh, God. That was like a lead balloon. That went down like a lead balloon.
I didn't even realise.
Oh.
Sorry.
Well, I haven't got a very good singing voice, so I wanted you to continue it all.
Neither of mine is worse. This is one small topic. I hope we haven't made too much of a mess of it. I feel like we've butchered it a little bit. But
well, it's our first time doing a podcast.
I was going to say, I do specialise a lot in breakups, and just this is very different as well. Like, this would be one aspect, because I've just got a lot of advice. So yeah.
And from a shamanic perspective, this is just disharmony, and we need to come back into harmony. And we keep it very, very simple, and we clean, release, and then comes change. So you cleanse yourself, you release the past, and then you can come back into the present. Then you can change, and then you can orientate yourself towards the future, to the person that is on the other side. Carl Jung quote, if you keep, I think it's something like, I'm going to butcher this now, I think it's something like, if you keep mourning the person that has just left, you'll never see the person who's walking through the door. You know, so it is all about releasing the past as well.
Tell you what else to wrap up with that you didn't talk about, that you wanted to talk about.
What was that?
Excuses.
Mini rolls?
Twin flames.
Okay, yeah, twin flame. Actually, yeah, let's hit on that quickly, because I've had a lot of...
This is a really long podcast. We might have to edit bits out.
Yeah, we will. So the twin flame thing, I see a lot of obsessional behaviour with the twin flames, and once again, this is just not being able to accept the reality. Oh, this person is married to that person, but I know they're my twin flame. This person is, I don't know, I've never met them, but I've seen them on something, and I know that's my twin flame. Like, this is not accepting the reality of the situation. If they were your twin flame, they'd be in your arms.
Well, not necessarily, because I told you.
The whole twin flame is
the twin flame thing. What people think when people say twin flame, what they think of is the terminology soulmate, right? Soulmate can be anyone. Soulmate can be your kid. Yeah. Soulmate is someone who comes into your life to teach your soul something. You teach each other soul lessons. Yeah. And your soulmate can come into your life and come out your life because you've done the soul work and what you was that you needed to teach each other. That's your soulmate. Twin flame is the romantic, the partner, the other part of you, which I think is pretty bad as well.
Yeah, once
we don't
again,
need another part of you.
Yeah.
So, but it could just be like a marketing thing. Like the people
are probably going to hate me on saying this, but it's everyone that I've met that has a twin flame has been in disharmony. They've not been in harmony.
But the idea of the story of the twin flame is your twin flame, you'll meet each other.
The story.
Yeah,
so what do we do? What do we do when we can't accept the flame?
Yeah.
We create a story.
So the story is your twin flame, you're meant to be together, and then it's usually the masculine that will run away, and then you'll get back together. And that's the twin flame. And there are courses and paid things. If you pay money, if you pay into this, we'll teach you how to fix the story the way you want it to end up.
Yeah, which is trying to control the situation.
Yeah,
it's
so
terrible.
I don't really believe in twin flames.
I don't either. And I'm sorry if that upsets anybody, but you can kind of see how it's just another story that comes up because you can't accept the pain. You cannot accept the pain.
Twin flames are
that
lame.
You love them and they don't love you.
Twin flames are lame.
You know?
That's my catchphrase.
What?
Twin flames are lame.
Twin flames are lame. We might have lost some people now, but anyway.
They work for us.
You're either with someone that's in harmony and you're in harmony and it's great, do you know what I mean? Or you're not in harmony, you're in disharmony.
Every relationship has ups and downs.
Yeah, of course, But ultimately, you want to be in harmony on a day-to-day basis. If you're in disharmony for more than 3 or 4 days, then you need a bit of healing. Bit of love. Bit of that beautiful love. Alright, so should we wrap it up?
Know when you're being taken for a mug. The end. Basically.
Know when you're being taken for a mug.
That is it. Unreturned love.
Unreturned love. Know when you're being. Yeah, we should have just. That should have just been it. Really.
Fuck them off.
Fuck off. Stand
Love
up,
yourself.
Stand in your power. Find your power animal or your mother animal and body that, and then crack on. Right. Lots of love, guys.
Bye.
Crystal drum.
Or not.